Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. What were you whispering to Craig? Can you mention that?
46 league games in the
Championship. Yeah, it's always been that way.
I know, but it's horrendous. What an absolute nightmare.
Oh, dear. Oh,
I was looking at the table when we finished the show. We put the table up. I mean, two teams sort of stick out. Sunderland, who was 6 when they sacked Tony Mowbray.
Yes.
Or were close to that. I think Birmingham might have been 6.
They were 6 when they got...
When John Eustace got the 10 sack for Wayne Rooney.
Yes.
And now you were saying it's probably gone up to them.
Yeah, most definitely.
And as relegation potential.
Don Hag is here. Don Hutchison is here. Was Ten Hag channeling Craig in the positivity corner with that claptrap he was spouting after the game? There's no way he keeps the job at the season's end, right? It's difficult to... Is he a dead man walking, Don?
I think he is. He's on trial. I mean, unless he has some end to the season. If you're Dave Brailsford, they talk about the marginal gains. If you're Ineos and you want to see a performance and you want to see or have something to cling on to, they would have watched that today thinking, that's not Man United. That's not what we've signed up for. Waffle after the game. Just talk rubbish after the game. You're trying to convince the world that that game there that you saw in your eyes wasn't the end of the world. The character's good. The growth is good. It's rubbish. They were terrible.
Yeah, they were.
This new group, they don't even need to watch the games now. All they need to do is sit in a room and they need to get little audio clips.
What are they doing in the room, Stevie?
Well, it's all computerised now, isn't it?
Well, what are they typing?
Well, that's not how you
Taking in all the
Let me tell you.
information.
What information are they typing?
Just all the stats and everything else.
I see.
You ever seen him do that in a computer?
No.
He does this.
It's one finger.
But honestly,
We can't log in to start with.
they should. No wonder he can't. No wonder he can't do his compliance training. He can't even get into the damn thing. All they need to do is play an audio clip of almost every game where they've had a bad result or it's been tight, and then just look at the results and look at what he said and go, do you know what? Because from the very first game this season, do you remember Wolves at home when
the penalty.
The penalty that wasn't given for Wolves, and he came out, and maybe you could have cut him some slack and said it was the first game of the season and he was just trying to make the players feel better.
Yeah.
But it's been almost every week when you sit and go, right, when we come on this show after a Man United game, win, lose or draw, somebody will always say, get me a Ten Hag quote. Because there's always been something.
Yeah.
That's just...
Yesterday he was championing Anthony, wasn't he, in his press conference, and then he plays him on in the 98th minute.
Plays a kid in his debut.
How highly do you rate Ollie Watkins, Don? And should he stay at Villa or take the offers when they come in this summer?
Stay at Villa. I rate him highly. I think after Harry Kane, I think he's the in-form striker from an England point of view. I think you definitely take him to the World Cup. If I was Ollie Watkins, I wouldn't be leaving Aston Villa in a hurry because I think he loves it there. He scores goals there. I think Unai Emery's got the best out of him where he has him now the width of the 18-yard box. I think when you saw Ollie Watkins play before Unai Emery took over, he was quite unselfish. He was running the channels. He was coming short, halfway line, doing a lot of work outside the 18-yard box. Now he's got a manager that tells him, get in the 18-yard box, we'll get you chances.
Where's Ollie Watkins going to go that's better than where he is?
Right, so Arsenal, of course, we talked about them maybe needing a striker. Is that the answer?
Well, I don't know if he sees it that way, Arteta, if I'm being honest with you, whether we agree or not. I think he sees what a lot of them do now, if they don't have a Haaland, is that, and Liverpool are doing it and have done, is with Firmino, and they did it with Jota and Gakpo. Sometimes it's Nunez, Mo Salah even. I think what they have is this is a more traditional number 9 that'll score goals, will run the channels, he'll head it, he'll fight. He's not the best link-up player, but he's not bad. But where's he going to go that needs a striker that's better if it's not one of those top 3, which I don't think it's going to be? Tottenham, but is that better than where he is? No. You know, Chelsea would be a better, you'd think, more glamorous, but it's not a better team. So I just don't know where Ollie Watkins is going to go that's better than what he's got at the moment at Villa.
What do you think, Steve? You agree?
100%.
Craig and Stevie, if Chelsea win the Carabao Cup this Sunday, does that give them any sort of boost throughout the season? Is it the same thing for Liverpool for winning the Premier League?
Well, if you don't get a boost from beating Villa, being competitive at Man City, and then if you were to beat Liverpool at Wembley after being scalded by them at Anfield, although Chelsea's fortunes have slightly got better since then, and not Liverpool's fortunes haven't got worse on the field, but they've got worse with injuries. So it's not going to be as strong a Liverpool side, but it has to give them something.
Yeah, it's certainly more interesting this final than maybe it would be a month ago, given Chelsea's run going into it.
After Liverpool completely wiped the floor with them,
Yeah.
if we had known that this was going to be the final as soon as that whistle went, I mean...
No-brainer.
It was an absolute no-brainer. But the fact is that for two good performances, doesn't that just tell you where they were or where they are?
Yeah.
We're actually saying how great two good performances are.
But they have been good. They have, you know, that's...
Well, see, here's the thing. It actually might do them a favour that they're playing Liverpool because they were up against it, both against Villa and against City. They're playing against teams that want to go forward. And so the fact that they can sit and use the pace of Jackson and Sterling and have some space and some gaps to run into, I think that's the key.
It's not going to be 0-0, is it?
I can't see it. I can't see it.
Question for Don. Is this Newcastle's poorest performance or are Arsenal just that good?
Both. I thought Arsenal were that good, but yeah, Newcastle were a shambles today. That's not at the Newcastle side when they're heading out that I've watched over the last couple of years. They were awful at the back. I've always thought with Trippier, I think with Cher, Botman, Livramento played there today, but normally Dan Burn. It's a pretty strong Newcastle team. They're very solid. They never look like last season or the start of this season giving away goals from set plays. You know, that tells you how bad Newcastle are when they're losing goals from set plays because they're absolute giants back there. So I think it's a little bit of both.
I think Trippier set the dominoes falling, hasn't he? Not in a bad way, not meaningly, but
yeah.
Here we had, well, I suppose you might look and say maybe it was Nick Pope getting this long-term injury, but I don't think that's an excuse. You look at the four guys that played across the back, and one by one, starting by Trippier, they started to make mistakes that they just hadn't been making, and I think that's just swept all the way across, and then the confidence is just gone.
Yeah.
You can imagine that place, and Newcastle was probably, along with a few clubs, one of the dressing rooms you wanted to go into.
Yeah, exactly. What do you think after the PSG result?
You want to go in and the lads would be cracking the jokes, the banter, and everybody want to go out and train, and everyone was buzzing. You can imagine going in there now and it's as flat as a pancake because, I mean, they lost 4 at home to Luton. They're just losing goals for fun, and my God, they were bad today.
Stevie, who's your favourite player in this current Liverpool side?
Ooh.
Why'd you look at me
That's a
there?
tough one.
Because I like the ooh.
Right, I'm waiting
That's
for
a
this.
tough one.
Who's your poster
You know
at
what I
home?
do? I love...
Who's the poster?
Who's
at
the
home?
poster at home and
See,
Bobby?
to me, yeah. So to me, I love the way Luis Diaz plays the game.
Right.
He's old-fashioned, he's old school, he goes at people. So I'm going to go with Luis Diaz. I love to see players going at defenders.
Yeah.
You know, one-on-one. I mean, far too many times in today's game, somebody gets one-on-one with a full-back, you're up by the penalty box, and they turn round and they pass the ball backwards. That drives me insane. Insane.
Well, when Mo Salah runs at defenders and trips over the ball, you go bananas.
Okay, there is a difference between standing on it first, hitting your right knee onto your left knee and then losing it. That's a little different.
Craig, has your opinion of Havertz, is it more favourable now than it was in the summer?
Honestly, my personal opinion on Havertz has not changed. I think long term, if Arteta in the big games continue to try and play him in the middle of the park, it's just not going to work. Maybe they'll beat Burnley and the teams that are poor and weak, but not in the big games. And I think if Havertz, if there's a position in the front three that needs filled, and Jesus has been injured but he hasn't been brilliant, and Nketiah's come in and been out, Martinelli was out of form for a bit. If there's any of those positions need filled, I don't have 70 million is a lot of money to have somebody to fill positions now and again. But they've paid the money for him, so they need to use him. If he's filling one of those positions, I don't have a major problem because he's further forward, he's kind of out the way, and it's a wee bit more natural for him. This thing that Arteta had in his mind, that he was going to come in and play as a 3, It hasn't worked because the manager himself has made those changes for the big game. So he got himself a goal today. It was a simple tap-in. He should have had a second at the beginning of the second half for him that would have made it 3. I don't think anybody's ultra convinced by him, but for me, he's much more of an asset in the final third than he is in the middle third.
Don?
I think Craig's nailed it. I think he's not a midfield player. He's not good at tracking back, but when he's forward, he's good in the air. I think the last couple of games, I think, it's given him confidence, but he's definitely suited to playing up front and then a 3 in midfield.
Craig, do you give Chelsea a chance of winning the League Cup given Liverpool's injuries?
Yeah, I do, and I think Stevie touched on it. I mean, 3 or 4 weeks ago, you were sitting here and thinking that it was an 80-20, 70-30 call at best. You know, sit in, get a bit of luck. Liverpool have an off day. I think it's more 60-40 now because of the injuries and because Chelsea have won a couple of games. So I think we have a contest.
Yep.
If the Chelsea side that played at Villa Park and the Etihad turn out, where they were super organised, they had I know Stevie talked about the back 4 with DCC and Colwell and not playing players like Colwell out of position. If he does that, which why wouldn't he? And he's got that threat up front, we could have a game on. We could have a game. Which
watching us in the States, we'll be here 9 a.m. Eastern for an hour-long preview ahead of.
Save this Chelsea and Liverpool stuff. We have an hour tomorrow.
I know, it's exciting, isn't it?
We could just we could play a rerun of this.
Oh, there we go. Could do that. Final question.
We'll come in at 10.
What's the percentage chance? Now focus. The top 6 in the Premier League finishes the season exactly as it stands today. Liverpool, City, Arsenal, Villa, Spurs, Manchester United.
What, all them teams stay in the same position?
Exactly.
My days.
No. 1.
No.
1.
1%?
No, a bit higher than that. 10?
10%? There we are. Perfect. I think that's a lot.
Every one of those finish in the same position.
There you are. 10%.
I'll have that bet with you.
Well, Don, you're going to owe me $50, aren't you? Arsenal top 4, that'd be nice.
Oh! Yeah, we'll have to try and get another one going.
Hold on. Is he the second person in 2 years?
Yes. Yeah, him and him. Yeah, because Don didn't think Arsenal were going to do it again. What's that? What's that?
I don't know.
What's that?
You remember the bet I've got with Kieran?
Kieran said that Arsenal would win the league if Gundogan left City.
Right, that's right.
I think that's it. I think that's... Oh, God, Steve, you can't lose another bet. That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show. Just a reminder, we will be back tomorrow to analyse the Carabao Cup final plus Real Madrid in action against Sevilla.